Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. This is the first video that I've done since Tuesday last week, so I'll just explain a bit about what's been happening and where I've been over the past few days, and then we'll have a look at the weather. So on the 8th of January, my father was taken very seriously ill with a massive cardiac arrest. And unfortunately, despite the best efforts of the Northamptonshire and Warwickshire Air Ambulance and the hospital staff was taken, unfortunately last Thursday on the 14th of January he passed away, he left us. So that's why I haven't been able to update the videos and the website all that much over the past week. Just to say big thank you to everybody that's been sending me their messages over the past few days. So all your tweets, all your messages on Facebook and at garethworthbits.com, and all the emails you've been sending to me as well. It means a huge amount, it really does, and it's been a huge comfort to myself and to my family as well. So thanks so much to everybody for your kindness. At times like this you do realise how kind people are, so thanks very much for all of those messages. They have been a huge comfort to all of us. Just to say thank you to James for keeping the comment box going at garethworthbits.com over the past few days, while I've been, of course, unable to check into the comment box that much. So thanks very much, James. I know you'll be watching the video. That's just everything that's happened over the past few days. So what I'm going to do for this video is just have a look at the weather storyline, really, because we've lost a storyline, of course, over the past few days. So we'll try to set the picture for what is going on. And I'll get on with that in a second. But before we get on with that, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on the page at Gareth Worth Bits. Have a browse widgets, click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. Thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads on most of the pages. They open up the content when you watch them. They'll close back up again. It does help to pay for our website. So just starting off with Central England temperature first of all, to see what the temperature has been doing so far this January. So provisionally we stand at 4.9 degrees, which is an anomaly of 1.4 degrees above average. That is provisional to yesterday, the 17th. So despite this colder weather that we've had over the past few days, actually we're still running above average with the temperatures. But I think that will be ticking down actually over the next few days, because we've got some cold nights to come. So I'll just run you through the minimum temperatures. This is the these are minimum temperatures for tonight. This is 6 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, widely down to -2, -3 degrees. And again on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, another widespread and very hard frost coming up, and that stays with us into Thursday and into Friday as well. So a lot of frosty nights coming up this week. I think we've lost the risk of snow, but a lot of frosty nights coming up. And there will be some ice around as well, so you need to take it easy if you're off out and about early or late over the next few nights and mornings. Now after Friday, we're going to find the temperatures picking up into the weekend. So these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles. The temperatures, first of all, is the 30-year temperature average, is thick red line. So we're fairly significantly below average at the moment. We will be staying so over the next few days. Dates are on the bottom of the chart, so we get through to the weekend, which is just around here, and then we start to find the temperatures lifting up actually. So over the weekend it turns milder, you can see that quite clearly there. Into next week, a much milder phase coming up. Beyond that, as we go through to the very end of January and start of February, which is just here, we've got a lot of scatter appearing within the ensemble. So there's some members of the ensemble that are really quite mild there. There's other members that are really quite cold as we go through to the very end of January and into the start of February. So we'll need to firm up on that, of course, over the next few days, where things are going as we move to the very end of the month, the start of February. But the general idea is that cold this week, milder from the weekend onwards into next week. The temperature in the stratosphere over North Pole is still very cold, so this is from the JMA model. This is the stratospheric temperature. Temperatures telling us where the temperatures have been in the stratosphere at 30 HPA, which is right at the top of the atmosphere. We've got the temperatures on the side, dates are on the bottom. So the grey line here is the trend line. So of course it is a cooling time of year through the winter, but you can see from the black line how much cold on average it's been over the past few weeks and months, going back into November. Actually, been significantly cold on average in terms of those stratospheric temperatures over top of the North Pole. Remember, when the North Pole is cold in terms of the stratospheric temperature, that often translates back to a strong polar vortex and increased westerlies through the mid-latitude. So that's why we've had, up to this past few days, that's why we've had generally a very mild Atlantic-driven and wet winters, because the stratosphere indicated by this black line here, because the stratosphere has been so cold. Now, I've got signs of a bit of a warming event taking place right at the very end of January on the latest GFS. So I'll just run you through the stratospheric temperature forecast from the GFS model. Remember, with this, the further out we go, the more unreliable it becomes, and that's the same with temperature, with precipitation forecasts. Anything the further out you go, the more unreliable you get. So we're starting today on the 18th of January, still very cold stratospheric temperature over North Pole, indicated by those blue and purple colours. Notice the yellow colours running around the edge of the pole here as we're running through. We're going up to 23rd on into 24th of January. You notice this warming event taking place around the edge of the pole, particularly affecting Siberia, some parts of Alaska as well. But the top of the pole, over the pole, it's still very cold actually, with those temperatures in the upper atmosphere. However, as we run through to the very end of January and the start of February, we do see signs of a stratospheric warming. So we're running through to the 28th on the 29th of January. At that point, the warm temperatures in the stratosphere still at the edge of the pole. Basically, the blue colours are still locked in there over top of the North Pole, although they are shifting a little bit more in towards the mid-latitudes. But suddenly, as we go through to the 30th of January, and then on into the 31st, and then on to the 1st, look at this, we suddenly see those red colours appear. That's a sudden stratospheric warming. What's happening there is the temperature in the top of the atmosphere is shooting up, probably by around 30 or 40 degrees Celsius. And when you get these very sudden stratospheric warmings, and they are indicated by these red colours appearing, when this happens, it can translate back to the chance of blocking over the North Pole. What's got to happen is that the warm temperatures at the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere have got to propagate down into the troposphere. That's where weather is taking place. And when that happens, the warm temperatures then set up a bubble of high pressure, and that high pressure can translate back to blocking, and blocking is often our route to sustained and at times quite severe cold. Now, there's a bit of a time delay on this, so it could be 2 or 3 weeks after this warming event takes place that we begin to see the blocking appearing. So this could actually be for more the end of February and into March. But if this does come off, we get this sort of sudden stratospheric warming event taking place at the end of January and into the start of February, it's possible we could have a very cold end to the winter. We'll just have to wait and see how that one plays out. Obviously, I'll be keeping you posted on it. The temperature anomaly for the coming week, this takes us from the 18th to the 26th of January, colder on average. Look at Europe, very, very cold temperatures there across most of Europe. You remember how warm these charts were as we was in December. Complete flip around now, so very cold temperatures for most of Europe. British Isles is a little bit cooler than average, but actually the far west of Europe is closer to normal. The real cold, and it is severe cold, is in many central, northern and eastern parts of Europe this week. Rainfall anomalies or precipitation anomalies generally dry on average through most parts of Europe, so a dry, cold week coming up. Here we go for generic charts then. On Friday, high pressure is still close to us, so it'll still be generally quite cold on Friday. These weather systems coming into the west, probably bringing a band of rain across the country and ending that cold weather. But for one more day, I think Friday could be fairly cold. By the time we go through to Saturday, we should be in a milder air mass then. And we go through to the start of next week still with high pressure close to us, so we're not looking at a particularly wet spell coming up, I don't think. There should be a fair amount of dry weather actually as we're ending January. But high pressure's close. bringing up southerly winds, so it's probably going to be fairly mild to start next week, and a fair amount of dry weather as well. However, it goes colder again, actually, as we run through into Tuesday the 26th and on into Wednesday the 27th. The high pressure is relocating over and slightly to the west of us, bringing down colder air from the north. So although it turns a little bit milder over the weekend and into the very beginnings of next week, actually next week could turn colder again, albeit with a lot of dry weather and probably very frosty as well. Day 10, which is Thursday the 28th of January, looks like this. High pressure right over top of the coast. That's a cold high as well, so there'd be a lot of frost, especially at night, and those daytime temperatures will be pretty low as well if that came off. The ECMWF looks like this. So Friday is a changeover day from the current colder phase into something milder, probably turns wet through the course of the day. And then we have generally quite a mildish weekend next week. I would think fair amount of dry weather. There will be some rain coming and going, perhaps most likely in the north and west, but I would think fair amount of dry weather actually next weekend, and fairly mild as well. The start of next week continues quite mild, I think, with the high pressure to the east, low pressure to the west, so the flows generally coming up from the south or southwest. And then we go through to the end of next week, staying quite mild and unsettled really, so it doesn't turn cold as the GFS did. High pressure is close over Scandinavia though, so cold air isn't all that far away on day 10. This is the 28th of January. You see the cold upper air temperatures across Scandinavia and into western Russia. We're generally still mild at this point, but looking at that, I don't think it will take all that much actually to start to get this high pressure over Scandinavia taking over the pattern. But actually the ECM is probably fairly mild as we're going through next week. The GFS is colder, and it suggests that after a milder situation at the weekend, we probably go colder again, but mainly dry and frosty next week. So that's how the weather's looking. I think we're going to have quite a lot of cold weather coming up this week, certainly a lot of night frost. Then it turns milder over the weekend, and quite a bit of uncertainty really as we're going through into next week. Right, that's it for now, and thanks very much for watching.